watch again. Okay. So I'm really, really pleased so many of you have joined tonight. I generally tend to do something on Mental Health Awareness Week, but this is the first year that, because of Zoom, I'm doing something broader. Usually I make some kind of statement on Facebook. But it shouldn't come as a surprise to most of you that this is something dear to my heart, because I'm very public about the fact that I have had mental health issues. And not only that I've had mental health issues, but that they were definitely augmented by the fact that I was embarrassed to have mental health issues and that I did everything I could to push them down. In fact, at the age of 22 to 23, when I was living in Manhattan, in a place where basically I think we're all going through a period of neurosis as an entire city, I was so embarrassed that I would drink every time I left my house to show myself up as somebody who was fun and playful and easygoing, when actually inside I was suffering so significantly. And so it's important for me as part of my continued journey to be very public and to also call forward other people to be willing to be public about mental health issues, because that stigma that is placed on people with mental health still, even though it is definitely less than it was, only makes matters worse. And to remember that if you currently are struggling with your mental health or have been for a very long time, that you are absolutely not alone. In fact, the World Health Organization estimates that in any given year, 10% of the world's population is suffering from clinical levels of depression and anxiety. So you are not alone. And if you're in the UK where I am, it seems like statistics are different. It's about a quarter of the population. So again, you are not alone, right? There are many more people struggling with their minds than you probably imagine, including those people that are smiling in front of you that you wish you could feel like. Often behind that smile is deep sorrow, right? So maybe find the courage to speak. Now, I love that the Mental Health Foundation focused this year's Mental Health Awareness Week on kindness, and quote, it says, on the thousands of acts of kindness. So before we even begin, and I get more into this topic, and then we do a meditation and a little bit of actually sharing between ourselves, I want to focus on those thousands of acts of kindness, millions that are happening right now, in the midst of one of the hardest things that the world has had to go through in a very, very long time. And I know not everybody is suffering from the pandemic, but globally, so many people are. So let's take a moment to just close our eyes and to send some gratitude to the healthcare workers, the people continuing to work at the supermarkets, even at the peak, the postal workers, the police, the Uber drivers, the taxi drivers, anyone at all, and I'm sure I've missed many, that had to work to keep society going, putting themselves in harm's way. I mean, when else have we had such significant acts of kindness as now? It's so easy to tap into it clearly. People who have put themselves in jeopardy for the greater good, in no uncertain terms. And if that makes you feel emotional, it's okay to cry. If you feel really, really stressed and it's hard to connect in, that's also okay. But just take a moment to be thankful nonetheless for these many, many acts of kindness that have allowed us to continue to move through this difficult period together as a world. And maybe you want to listen to me now with your eyes closed, right? That's often how you listen to a talk in a Buddhist monastery where I did so much of my practice, or you can have your eyes open, whatever works for you. But I'm just going to start with some reflections. So I looked up the etymology of kindness yesterday, and it finds its roots in a Middle English word having to do with noble deeds. And I love that idea because to me, kindness is not passive. It is an effortful choice to focus on ourselves. So there's kindness towards ourselves and an effortful choice to be kind towards others. It is not something that just happens. We really have to purposely bring it to the forefront. And sometimes, right, that can be difficult. It can be difficult to be kind to ourselves and to others because so often we're in survival mode. And let us not pretend that that is unique to this period in history. That is part of being a human being, right? Right now, even before the pandemic, so much of us were overwhelmed with the requirements of daily life. But if we were in the past, maybe we would have had to worry about infectious disease, not just like we are right now with the pandemic, but all the time, right? Maybe if we're not in the developed world, we still have to worry about where our next meal is coming from, and some in the developed world do. Or maybe it's that we feel taken advantage of. We don't feel that we have rights and we're respected. So again, we're coming from a place of survival. And the thing is that physiologically, the network responsible for allowing us to connect and to bond is in direct contrast to that part of us that wants to survive, that wants to feel safe, that wants to make sure we have resources, right? So it's kind of like a sympathetic, parasympathetic reality, or what we would call more accurately, right, survival mode versus the social engagement network. So I think for so many of us, kindness is actively choosing to quell that fear in the face of difficulty in order to bring forth something better for ourselves and something better for the world. So how do we do that? That's all good to say, right? We need to calm ourselves down. But how do we do this? And one of the ways we can do this is through yogic breathing. And in fact, I've often given a lecture called How Yoga Can Change the World. And it's not some kind of lofty topic, imagining philosophical realities. It's literally talking about the simplicity of activating parasympathetic response through breathing practices that allow for pro-social behavior. So I want all of us to just take a moment, because we might not be there right now, life is busy, to help, to do something that's going to bring us into our social engagement network. Probably the simplest, easiest way, which is just to elongate our exhalation. That calms us down. So let's close our eyes. If they're not already closed, many of you have them closed. Inhale naturally. Exhale long without pushing the breath out. And if you are familiar with Ujjayi breath, I invite you to do Ujjayi breath. If you are not familiar with it, just slow, controlled breathing. We have to be kind to ourselves in understanding that it's not always easy to access that part of us that wants to be gentle. We have to be really honest, right? I think there's a lot of mumbo jumbo about being good to each other and ourselves without an appreciation for what's happening in the nervous system. We have to set it up for that. So let's set it up together. And if you want to add a little bit of a mantra to it, on the inhale, you can say, I will be kind to myself. And on the exhale, you can say, I will be kind to others. I'm sorry for that noise. That is my dog making a bed, but it kind of makes me laugh, right? And I'm being kind to her by not yelling during this talk. I will be kind to myself on the inhale. I will be kind to others on the exhale. Continuing to inhale. Exhale long. Inhale. Exhale long. I will be kind to myself. I will be kind to others. And I'm going to add another layer now, because possibly we're going deeper. I want you to imagine, and I know it's strange, that you can breathe into the heart center. Not the actual physical heart, the heart center. Right? Or we'll say in yoga, the heart chakra. And breathing in there, I will be kind to myself. I will be kind to others. Breathing out. I will be kind to myself, breathing into the heart. I will be kind to others, breathing out. We're going to do this for 3 more minutes. If the mind goes away, that's just the survival mind, the anxious mind, the bored mind. Bring it back. Remember, it's a noble deed, kindness. It's effortful. It requires your attention. Breathing into the heart, I will be kind to myself. Breathing out, I will be kind to others. Continue. Breathing into the heart, I will be kind to myself. Breathing out long, I will be kind to others. And I'm going to speak again now. You can continue to breathe in this way or drop it as you wish. I can just be in the background. So starting with being kind to ourselves, because that's the first part. And I really believe that that is about effortfully taking care of ourselves. I so often hear people say, I didn't do that because it was too much work and that was too much effort. I was being good to myself. And in some cases, that's true. If it's just another piece of work you're physically taking on. But if it's deciding to eat ice cream rather than salad, are you really being kind? Is it deciding to lie down rather than doing your physical practice? Are you really being kind? Right? Being kind is taking the measures necessary to keep yourself well, which is not always easy. But when we do it, we feel better, right? So We'll get into this later because I want all of us to think about making a commitment to being more kind to ourselves. Maybe just one thing we feel we can maintain that we haven't been doing so far. And from there, let's branch out. So Proust once said, self-care, which I think of as kindness, is a political act. So we move from being well internally by taking care of ourselves to being able to more effectively consider the needs of the world. And I think we should never underestimate the importance of being kind to others almost all the time. As Gandhi said, be kind because everybody is having a hard job, possibly much more so than we think. That little act of kindness versus letting off steam at somebody we might be agitated with may completely transform how they see their day, their week. You don't know what they're going through. So we have to consciously go into the world, especially those of us who are showing up with awareness, knowing how important that is, with a sense of responsibility around how we treat other beings, right? We have an opportunity, and it's not always easy, to consider when somebody is not polite or aggressive, to instead be kind in response. And I'm not saying that we have to hold ourselves up to some completely unrealistic expectation, but I think it is our duty, if we are self-aware, to at least try. Another aspect of kindness regarding the world, and I think that that is so prevalent right now, is remembering what we need and what we don't. We live on a planet of limited resources, right? And I think, at least for me and many people I've been talking to, the pandemic has highlighted actually how little I need in relationship to how much I had been consuming. But I think that this needs to go forward into the future. And also just to reflect back, some of us, when we thought we would be in lockdown without access to goods, went to supermarkets and other places and we hoarded goods at the expense potentially of other people. So it's checking those behaviors and curbing them and thinking about being a part of the global universe and not shifting into that fear-based place just because other people are. So we're going to be part of the lowest common denominator, because if we don't, then we'll be left cold and dry, right? It's bringing forth a level of trust that we can do better than that. And if we do better than that, that even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way we want, there will be some safety, and definitely we will feel some sense of integrity and esteem. You know, a friend of mine in finance said to me recently, companies will be judged on how they treated their employees when the pandemic started. That will be a badge that they will carry with them. And I think also for ourselves individually, that will be the truth. When crisis really hit, who were we to other people? And again, who were we to ourselves? Did we sit and just watch Netflix all day long and concern ourselves with being bored if we're not working and don't have children? Or did we take it as a time to transform? There's that sense of kindness and also personal integrity, right? Which when we feel it, brings forth an emotion of positivity for all of us. So I ask everybody, in fact, on this Zoom meeting with me to really consider, what do you need? How can you be kind by surrendering something to the world by simply not grasping for it? So some of you know that I lived in a Buddhist monastery. And when you live in a Buddhist monastery and you're a young woman, you're the lowest on the totem pole. And that only really gets seen in terms of the food offering, right? If you're in Southeast Asia. So first go the monks, and they get all the best food, right? And often you only get one meal a day. And then go the nuns. And then go the men, then go the women, then go the older women, and then the younger women. And often I would end up at the end with very little food. But I was okay with that. So when I went to a monastery in the West where the rules were different and the monastics all went up together and then the non-monastics went up, I would go to the line, and if I wasn't in the back, I would look at the things I wanted most and I would think, I remember what it felt like. I surrender that extra piece of cake that I was hoping for all week. I surrender that chocolate. I surrender that extra serving of pad thai, which I was really keen on. I surrender this and I surrender that. I give it to other people. And I genuinely think that the sense of offering, and nobody knew I was doing it but me, it wasn't a public thing, was much more delicious than the taste of the food. So I want to remind you of all of that. I know you know it. I know you didn't come to this meeting without knowing it, but I just want to highlight it again. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to put you in breakout rooms of 2 people, and I want you to each tell a story of kindness in your life that has inspired you, because those stories feed and breed the desire for more kindness. And I'm going to tell you mine as some form of inspiration. I was thinking which one to share. So when I was a little girl, when I was in 3rd grade, my parents were in the midst of a very public, messy divorce in New York. All the kids in school knew. I wasn't very popular because of it, and it was really, really rough. And it might surprise some of you that I was super quiet because I'm a chatterbox, right? But I was really nervous around the other kids. And I had this remarkable teacher. I was not an extraordinary student in 3rd grade. I wasn't a terrible student, so I wasn't anywhere really on the spectrum of standing out. The only thing that I had going probably in uniqueness was that I was the tiniest. But every day she would ask me to stay after. And she'd just look at me and she'd give me a hug. That was it. And it made me feel so incredibly special. When I say it now, it makes me emotional. And I felt seen after going home every day and suffering so much. It was a really messy life. I had this person who just saw me and chose to make me special. And she probably doesn't even remember my name because, God, I mean, I was 8 or 9 years old and now I'm 43. But she transformed my life. And I just want to dedicate my moment of sharing kindness to my teacher, Mrs. Goldblatt, who through her act of kindness played such a significant role in a little girl's life. And I want to pass it on. See, it makes you emotional remembering those things, even if they happened more than 30 years ago. I didn't expect to cry, but you know that I'm not making it up, that it's not bullshit, that I'm genuinely touched because you can see my tears. So what I'm going to do is just put you in a breakout room of 2 people, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes in total. And between the 2 of you, just share some experience of kindness from another person that touched you. And if it's really hard to think of something, because, you know, I had a week to think about what I might share, then just talk about what kindness means to you or an act of kindness that you gave to somebody else. But if you can remember kindness being given to you, I invite you to do that. So we have an uneven number of people, right? So let's see. Oh, no, we don't now. 56 divided, okay, 28 rooms. So I'm going to put you in a breakout room. Please just join it. You're going to probably meet somebody. Oh, not everybody wants to go in the breakout rooms. So I'm seeing a few people leaving the meeting. Do try and stay and engage with this. If you really don't want to go into the breakout room, you don't have to. But I'd love if you do. You don't even have to put your camera on and there won't be filming, right? And then after that, we'll do a meditation. So go ahead now, everybody, into your breakout rooms and share with another human being an experience of kindness. Oh, I didn't open the room. Sorry. I was wondering why you're still all here. There we go. Can you guys all join? Maggie? So we're all back from our breakout rooms. Hi, Minnie. Hi. um, if you want to write anything on the side about your experience, you're welcome to in the chat. And in a minute, I'm going to take us through a loving kindness meditation. It might go a little bit over a quarter to. I said I would answer questions, but I ended up talking longer than I thought it was. Sometimes that happens. Yeah, but feel free to write in the chat. You can also do that at the end. And we're now going to take a moment to go into a loving kindness meditation, or a metta meditation, as it is called in Buddhist circles. The things that I am going to say, the way that I'm going to teach this, comes from one of my teachers, Bhante Gunaratana, who is, oh yeah, thank you for all your lovely comments, who was this amazing, amazing teacher. And it was said that he had so much metta that when he walked into a room, your hairs would stand up on edge. And I can tell you that was my lived experience. Me, a skeptical New Yorker that always thought those things were bollocks, there was something about him. He was so full of love that I heard, and I don't know this firsthand, that he went to an airport one time and a small child clasped onto him and would not stop hugging him. And when the parents tried to remove that child screamed bloody murder. There was something special about that man. So I'm going to use his wordings for loving kindness, and my students will be familiar with it, right? Those who've gone through the whole training. So just have your eyes downcast or closed. Excuse me. Notice your breath and the sound of barking. It's just all part of life, isn't it? And just take a moment to honestly reflect on your challenges as you're sitting here. Not in a way that you're judging yourself and you want to be different, but you just genuinely recognize that there are things that you are working with, maybe today, maybe this week, maybe this lifetime, and hold yourself delicately. And then think to yourself, may I be happy and peaceful, healthy and at ease. May I truly be able to take care of myself joyfully, and may I have the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to meet the challenges of my life. And I like to imagine that a golden cascade of light falls over myself at this time, of loving kindness. Maybe you want to imagine the same. Allow yourself to be bathed in loving kindness. Not pity for what you're working on, but a true just wish of wellness for yourself. And now put forth somebody that you respect. Someone in your life who you admire. And know that they too have challenges, whether you're aware of those challenges or not. And take a moment to contemplate these challenges that this respected person has. And hold them delicately in your heart. Wishing them to be happy and peaceful, healthy and at ease. May this respected person be able to take care of themselves joyfully, and may they possess the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to meet the challenges of their life. And maybe also bathe them with this golden light of metta, of loving kindness. Allow it to move out of your being because it is endless. You're not giving away something you won't have more of, and spill over onto this other person. And now think of someone neutral. So this probably has to be someone you don't know that well, because we tend to form strong opinions almost immediately with people. And maybe it is somebody at the shop, in the supermarket, or the post office, someone you occasionally pass in the street. And just imagine that because suffering is inherent and a part of life, that this person too will have challenges. And maybe envision what they are, although you don't know. It's probably not that hard. We're all human, frightened of losing things we love, attached to certain things, wanting to be different, wishing we could be more. And wish this person, this neutral person who represents other neutral people, to be happy and peaceful, healthy and at ease. Wish that this person is able to take care of themselves joyfully, possessing the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to meet the challenges of their life. And now think of bathing this person in your golden light as well. That metta. And let's see if we have enough to work with a difficult person. My teacher always said, only work with a difficult person if you feel the metta, the love is strong. If not, come to another neutral person. Because we're not always ready to send it to somebody in our life who's difficult, and we should be honest about that. But if you can, envision somebody in your life who causes you difficulty, who when you think about them, makes you feel uncomfortable or angry or whatever it is. But there's something beyond that, isn't there? We all struggle as part of being human. So can you imagine for a second that this difficult person, or neutral, if you're not ready for difficult, has these struggles? And take a moment beyond your frustration to wish this person to be happy and peaceful, healthy, and at ease. May they be able to take care of themselves joyfully. And may they possess the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to manage the challenges of their life and really bathe them in your metta, this gold light emanating from you out to this neutral or difficult person, knowing there is an endless amount of this love, that you will not suffer by giving it away, nor do you have expectations of being loved back. It is this unconditional love, this kindness, unattached love that we are sending. It benefits us because as we send it out, we feel it in ourselves. We must have it to give away. And let us now extend beyond this to the world, to the suffering of the world, to the human beings, to the non-human beings, all whom suffer because it is part of life to suffer. It's also part of life often to have joy, but we don't really get through life without some level of challenge and pleasantness. And maybe you can't imagine everybody's individual suffering, that would be impossible. But just hold the collective nature of suffering in this world. Seeing it as just a condition of reality. It's relatively impersonal, although we personalize it. And wish all beings to be happy and peaceful, healthy, and at ease. May they be able to take care of themselves joyfully, and may they possess the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to meet the challenges of their life. Send this to all beings, your loving kindness, your metta. And now let us come back to ourselves, remembering our challenges. And maybe they are not so unique, because it is the nature of being alive to have challenges, to suffer sometimes, maybe even often. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us, but we can wish for our wellness, saying to ourselves again, may I be happy and peaceful, healthy and at ease. May I be able to take care of myself joyfully. And may I possess the patience, wisdom, courage, and determination to meet the challenges of my life. And again, send yourself this loving kindness, this metta. And within this milieu, I want you to think of one thing, just one thing that you will do to take care of yourself more joyfully. One thing you think you can commit to. One thing that you breathe in and out, entrenching it into your mind is something you truly will commit to for yourself. And by doing it for yourself, inadvertently doing it for the whole world. One thing. Even if it seems self-indulgent and somehow not related to the world, it is one thing. One thing. And now, I'm just going to chant a Tibetan chant 3 times, which is, my heart is opening like the jewel in a lotus flower. You can join me if you know it. It's Om Mani Padme Hum. I have kind of a unique tune that I was taught by my teacher. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Thank you all. So, please feel free to share different things with people. Oh, I see some of you tearing up. I feel like that's the heart opening, you know? It often comes with tears. Different things. So feel free to write in the chat what it was like to be with the other person, or maybe you want to say what your commitment to yourself is, so you've kind of spoken it publicly, or maybe you just want to share a thought, anything. Feel free. And if anybody wants to ask questions to me, there's a raise the hand feature on the toolbar below. If you click where it says participants, on the right-hand side, you'll get a column. And then underneath the people's words, you will see, the people's names, everybody's names, you'll see something that says raise your hands. It'll create a little blue hand in your square. Or if you can't find it, if you want to say something or ask a question, feel free to just unmute yourself. If it's a comment that you want to share publicly, you could probably write it so we don't all end up speaking over each other, which can happen on Zoom. Right? And I'm also fine if there are no comments. Oh, thank you everyone. Thank you for your comments. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So there are no questions, which is fine. If you want to say anything publicly and raise your hand, you can. You probably got that I like to sing. Da, 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 na, 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 na. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for me and you. Just wait and see. Da, 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 da. Put a little love in your heart. Do, 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 do. Oh, somebody asked what this dog is called. This is Minnie. Her middle name is Monkey, and her last name is Mason. So this is Minnie Monkey Mason. And she's just all around metta. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. Don't feel you need to stay on, right? Because I'm just here for your comments. So if you need to go, do go. And if you want to watch this again, it will be on YouTube on Monday. I have to wait for Leah to be able to put this up. I'm not very techy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. And to each other. Thank you. I'm so happy you guys connected with each other. Isn't that nice? Right? We should have more of these meetings where you just have 5 minutes to meet somebody else and talk to somebody, right? Who's committed to self-cultivation and kindness. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely comments, both privately and publicly. It's lovely to have. Many thanks, you too. Say thank you. My pleasure, everyone. Yeah. You know, just as I'm staying on, I feel like it's also really important for me because I was so resistant to loving kindness. When I was doing my meditation in the monastery those years ago, I was just doing mindfulness, and my meditation teacher said, you need to do loving kindness. And I said, who needs to do that? Why does it matter? I'm just going to see through the nature of reality. And he was like, no, that's a spiritual bypass, Heather. You are going to learn to love yourself. And I said, there's no self to love. And he said, that's rubbish. That's just a way of not facing you. So I feel like it was a real journey learning to be kind to myself. Right? It's also why I'm teaching, I don't know when I am, but the week after next, loving kindness for vulnerable people, because I was hell-bent on hating myself. Right? So I have a lot of strategies to bring love into people's hearts that are really struggling with it for themselves, because I was that person. All right. Well, everyone, thank you. Since there are no questions, I'm probably going to sign off and take this one to the park quickly, right? So she can have a little walk. Oh, it's so nice to continue to read your comments. I wish that it didn't get deleted at the end. Thanks, everyone. Namaste, be well, enjoy your weekend, spread the kindness. Every little act matters. Bye.